All right, everybody gather around. We are going to talk about some meditation apps. There are so many meditation apps out there now, and I know a lot of people are often asking me about them. I'd never paid that much attention to them because I started meditating before there were things like apps and electricity. But I think it's time we start to look at all of this mental health technology that's out there. A lot of these apps are positioning themselves not just as meditation apps, but as mental health supports. So today we're going to start to dive into that stuff. We're going to begin with what are, in my opinion, the two best free meditation apps. Now, how do you review something like a meditation app? So, obviously it's about how quickly it teaches you to levitate. Okay, but beyond that, what are we going to look at? So for me, I bucket it into, I'd say, two categories of factors. So the first one is design. And that's really about this piece of technology. Is it accessible? Is it a well-designed tool? And then the other is quality. And that maybe needs a bit more explanation. So I'm going to explain exactly what I'm looking at with quality, because there are really three factors that I want to see when it comes to the quality of basically the meditation teachings. And so that's range, experience, and depth. Range is about having a variety of meditation teachings, techniques, practices. You've got your silent, just sitting meditation and all of your guided meditations. You've got body scans, loving kindness meditation, healing the inner child, maybe some transcendental meditation, mindful walking, mindful eating, right? All of the mindful eating meditations, mindful cookie eating, mindful pizza eating, mindful brownie, mindful chocolate eating. Also, I want to see a lot of meditation teachings. And then experience is what we look at across range. And experience, sometimes I might also call this wisdom. And essentially it's just like, do the people making this app, do they meditate? Do they know what they're doing? Or, as unfortunately is sometimes the case, are they just creating a meditation app that's really an advertising platform, or it's just about making an app and they know that meditation is popular right now, but they themselves don't actually know that much about meditation. The other thing I look at that the free apps do a really great job with is depth. And depth, you want to think about depth. Depth is kind of like, how long could you use the app for? Or, does it give something to people at all levels of practice? So there's something there for the absolute beginner who has never sat down on their ass and shut up in their life. There's also tools there for somebody that wants to do a 2-hour meditation. Or they're going to use that app to run an entire week-long retreat. That's depth. We can touch the practice a little, but we can also dive deep into it. 5 minutes of aerobics, that's the same as 5 minutes of meditation. It's awesome if that's where you're at. You can get really pumped up. I love, when I'm working, just kind of stop working for a bit, get down, do some push-ups, do some squats, get back on the computer and go to work. Just helps me reset. Absolutely. Maybe for you, you do a quick 5-minute meditation, kind of tell the brain to shut up, stop that spinning rat wheel, get back to work. There is so much more there to do and explore. And so use physical fitness as a great example, as kind of a model to follow. Like, just imagine if we had stopped our physical fitness exploration at aerobics. So don't let your app stop you from that exploration. And that's why I look at depth. Is the app going to hold you at only doing a 10-minute aerobics practice each day? Or is it going to give you the opportunity to really build a practice? And why I think that's so important and why the free apps are great for that is because it's a free app. Their business model doesn't depend on you using the app. And really, any app to do with meditation, the ultimate goal should be to equip you with the tools to not need the app anymore. So the best two free apps, I'd say, are the Plum Village app and Insite Timer. We're going to look at the Plum Village app first. Now, if you're not familiar with Plum Village, it is a Zen Buddhist retreat center started by Thich Nhat Hanh, located in the south of France, now with groups and retreat centers all over the world. It was started as a place where refugees fleeing the Vietnam War could go to heal and recover. And that, really comes through in the practice. It's very much about healing and finding peace and quiet, relaxation and calm in a chaotic, often traumatic world. So in terms of range, it is narrower because it's focused on one particular Buddhist tradition. So I'd say the range is narrower, but that's on purpose. And it does such a great job of covering all of the elements of that tradition. The deep relaxation guided meditations on the Plum Village app are the best by far on any app anywhere. And that's really because that is their gig. That is the thing that they just specialize in and are so awesome at. And that years, decades of experience really comes through. This app is so strong on experience and depth as you might expect. Like, these are monks. This is their life. There are recordings from many different monks, as well as Thich Nhat Hanh. And I think it really comes through that the monks doing the recordings and even how the app has been put together comes from a place of understanding how people enter into this practice and learn meditation. And you can really see that experience come through from years of teaching people. So there are multiple entry points depending on what you feel comfortable and what you're looking for. So there are meditation recordings with neuroscience explanations. Then there are the kind of singing and music-oriented practices for people who really enjoy that. There are silent meditations as well, and there's also a lot of practices around mindfulness, so like mindful walking and mindful eating and so on. So whatever kind of you're most open to, the app does have something there for you. On the tech and design side, they just did an update with a complete redesign. Now, I liked the old design, but I think that was because I already knew what to do with the app. Already familiar with Plum Village, already knew how to meditate. And so it was very simple. You just opened it and you went to it. But I think probably for people who are unfamiliar, they didn't know what to do or even what this was all about. So I think a lot of the things that have been added in with the new redesign actually make it more accessible and are helpful to people who don't really know what this is all about and are just getting into it. So yeah, if you don't know what Plum Village is, you don't know what meditation is or anything like that, don't be afraid to try out the Plum Village app. There are meditation tracks in, so far at least, English and French. And something super cool about the Plum Village app is that it's totally designed, built, and maintained by volunteers. So thank you to the volunteers. Beyond the Plum Village app, there are shockingly few free, totally free, 100% use it and run with it meditation apps. There were two other that I looked at, one called UCLA Mindful, which really seemed like it was intended for students at UCLA. It's kind of attached to their health center, had a bunch of links and resources related to their health center that wouldn't really make sense if you're not using the UCLA health center. But so there's that, UCLA Mindful, anybody can download it. And then there was another app called Smiling Mind, which has a bunch of resources particularly targeted at kids, and so that parents and teachers can use them in classrooms and things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, there is an adult section with it as well. Yeah, you could also check that out if you really want to take a look yourself at all the options out there. I found when I was looking at them, I tried them out, they didn't quite stack up against the Plum Village app and Insite Timer. But yeah, they're out there, and who knows where they may take themselves in the future. So let's take a look at Insite Timer. I would say Insite Timer is your best all-around app, looking at all of the different apps, paid and free. Insite Timer is consistently the one that I recommend to people. There is like a premium version of Insite Timer, but I put it in the free video because I didn't even realize there was a premium version of Insite Timer. All of the features that you would need in a meditation app and more are fully available to you for free. And so a lot of things that in paid apps are behind paywalls, you can already get them all in Insite Timer for free. If you don't know what you're doing, I do think the Insite Timer app, the design can be a bit confusing. It's not as intuitive as it could be. I've always wondered why it opens to this particular screen and not the meditation programs where if you're a beginner, you could quickly see, oh, there's a button that says beginner or the timer. Because of course, when I open it, I just want to get to the timer and I've got to, click over to it. So there's some of that. And also you're not going to get the same kind of hand holding that you might in some of the paid apps with all of the kind of the pop-up notifications and the very structured kind of habit forming process that they really try to do there. So yeah, if you're really concerned about that, like you really feel you need somebody to tell you to stop and meditate, Insite Timer is not going to do a lot of that. But I would say, there's some bigger issues there that aren't just going to be solved with having a meditation app send you a little pop-up. In addition to the beginner course, which is free and has a whole bunch of different teachers, there's also a section on sleep. And I know that's very popular. If you look at meditation apps right now, they're really pushing the sleep thing. They're starting to look kind of like sleep apps more than meditation apps. But I know that's really popular, and most of the paid apps, they put that stuff behind the paywall. The sleep program is free on Insite Timer. I put out a call on Twitter to ask people what apps they were using, what were their favorite apps. And when people brought up the paid apps, I would always ask them why that was their favorite app. And so when people listed out their favorite features on the paid apps, there was not a single one of the favorite features on the paid apps that is not present in the free section on Insite Timer. Now, maybe it's because people just aren't, because of the design, they're not finding that all of these free features are there. But I would say, if you've got a favorite feature on an app, meditation app right now that you're paying for, just check out Insite Timer and see if maybe it's available for free. Now, looking at quality, so range, experience, and depth, something really powerful that Insite Timer did was open itself up to teachers. So teachers can upload meditation tracks. And a lot of people I spoke with, many of you, you mentioned that, you speak many different languages and you want to get a meditation track in your first language, and a lot of apps don't have that. And so you use Insite Timer because teachers who speak your language can upload tracks in that language. Insite Timer also has the best multilingual support of any of the apps out there, and that you can actually set it up. You can kind of input the languages that you would prefer, and it automatically starts to sort the tracks, because there are something like over 24,000 meditation tracks that you can access on Insite Timer. And of course, that can be kind of confusing if you don't know what you're looking for, but it does try to sort them, and you can put filters on by language. That also, so I'd say that has some other benefits in terms of range. So of course, there's a ton of tracks, but what that does is you get a range across spiritual practices and also secular meditation practices. You get all of the different techniques and modalities in different languages, but also really key, a diversity of teachers. I'd say this is a huge failing of a lot of the apps out there, is that they're not very diverse in terms of the teachers they're bringing in. And Insite Timer is kind of able to address that by empowering anybody to upload a meditation track. So huge benefit there, because then also thinking of experience, you're able to tap into all of these different experiences coming from different perspectives and different countries around the world. And that is really powerful and really beneficial. Now for depth, and I'm very passionate about this one, if you're going to make your meditation timer deep and really help people have a deep practice on it, you have got to have a feature-rich timer that is going to do all the things that somebody would want a timer to do if they're an experienced meditator or they're leading meditation retreats. My favorite part of Insite Timer is the timer. I find it extremely useful for my own practice, and I can use it to lead sessions and workshops and retreats. Unfortunately, and this is unfortunately for other apps, it seems like a lot of apps, because the first thing I look at when I grab a meditation app is the timer. Is it good? Could I use it? Would it be useful to me? It seems that a lot of apps, it's almost like they didn't get somebody who meditates to make the timer. Like they just told some random person, like just program a timer into it, add a timer. We're not boiling eggs here. We're not looking for an egg timer. Now, you may notice I didn't mention a timer back there with the Plum Village app, and there is not one. You don't go to Plum Village to do hardcore sitting meditation. Time is measured there by cups of tea. However, I really like hardcore sitting meditation. A monk comes by with a bamboo stick and hits you on the side of the head if you start to nod off. That's way more my style, so I like having a feature-rich meditation timer. It'd be awesome in the future if there's like a timer where a monk pops out and hits you on the head with a bamboo stick. I know we're not there yet, but someday. For now, I have to settle for the Insite Timer though. So I'll explain a bit about the features that I would say make it useful. So one, you can set the timer is very easy to set. I found some of the timers on apps that are out there. It's like they try to be different and cool, but they really just made something that was very difficult for me to set the time on. So Insite Timer is super easy. Set the time. You can set it for any amount of time. You can set interval bells throughout your meditation practice. I find that's really easy to set, and you have a variety of bell sounds you can choose from. You also have ambient sounds in the background. You can also control the warm-up and cool down, the ending of the meditation. You can also use the timer to schedule, say, an entire meditation retreat for 24 hours. You could set all of the different bells, so you could do something like a silent meditation retreat without constantly having to fiddle with the app. You just set it, all the bells are there, and you go to it. You can even meditate until infinity. I haven't done that yet, obviously, because I'm doing this right now. But maybe later, we could all meditate until infinity. And then also an awesome feature is that you can save all of your bell presets. So I find this so useful with things like workshops and stuff like that. I'm not having to fiddle and program in the meditation we're gonna do to fit the time we've got coming up. I can save it all in the presets. Anybody brings up something, I've already got the bells set up, the timer ready to go for all different variables. What I find so great about that feature too is that basically the preset section has become my own personal customized meditation app. So I don't have to mess around with all the programs and find the right thing I might be looking for. I can just go to the preset section of the timer. It is there. It's ready to go. It makes it so super quick and easy. So there we go, everybody. 2 great apps, the Plum Village app and Insite Timer. If you're looking for a free app to help support your meditation practice, whether you're a beginner or you're a teacher and you're sharing your practice with other people, check them out. Both available on iOS and Android. Everybody, happy sitting.